great Mikado, virtuous man, ready to rule our land, began his awful trial, and whereby young men might less be scared. So he decreed in words succinct that all the flood and lead all winged, unless one will be added, should forthwith be beheaded, 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 should forthwith be beheaded.
Our logical Mikado, seeing no moral difference between the dignified judge who condemns a criminal to die and the industrious mechanic who carries out the sentence, has rolled the two officers into one, and now every judge is his own executioner.
But how would you tell all this to me, a mere sloven minstrel, for I see you're a nobleman of the highest rank?
Don't mention it. I am in point of fact a particularly haughty and exclusive person of pre-Adamite ancestral descent. You'll understand this when I tell you I can trace my ancestry back to a protoplasmal, primordial, atomic globule. Consequently, my family pride is something inconceivable. I can't help it. I was born sneering. But I struggle hard to overcome this defect. I mortify my pride continually. When all the great officers of state resigned in the body because they were too proud to serve under an ex-tailor, did I not unhesitatingly accept all their posts at once?
And the salaries attached to them did.
Consequently, it is my degraded duty to serve this upstart as first Lord of the Treasury, Lord Chief Justice, Commander-in-Chief, Lord High Admiral, Master of the Buckhounds, Crew of the Backstairs, Archbishop of Titipu, and Lord Mayor, both acting and elect, and all rolled into one, and at a salary of Cuba paid for the services. I, a salary If it revolts me,
and it does you praise.
but I don't stop at that. middle-class people on reasonable terms. I dance and keep suburban parties for a moderate fee. I accept refreshment from any hand, however lowly. I also retail state secrets at a very low figure. For instance, any further information regarding Yum Yum will come under the head of a state secret. Another insult, and I think a light one. With
taken from a county jail by a set of curious chances, liberated then on bail, on the only cognized answers, wafted by a wavering gale, as one sometimes is in trances, to a height that few can scale, saved by long and weary dances, surely never had avail, under such like circumstances, some adventure thus attain, which may rank with those romances, taken from a county jail. From a county jail, liberated then on bail, never had avail, some adventure thus Gentlemen, I am much touched by this reception. I can only trust that by a strict attention to duty, I shall ensure a continuance of those favors which it will ever be my study to deserve. If I should ever be called upon to act professionally, I am happy to think that there will be no difficulty in finding plenty of people. What was your name again? Whose loss will be a distinct gain to society at large. As someday it may happen that a victim must be found, I've got a little list of society offenders who might well be underground and who never would be missed. They never would be missed. There's the pestilential nuisances who write for autographs, or people who have sweaty hands and irritating laughs, and children who are lucky things and floor you with them flat, and persons who in shaking hands shake hands with you like that, and all those persons who are making endless lists insist. They none of them be missed. They none of them be missed. It's all on the list. It's all on the list. There's the peanut politician and the others of his race, and the rock musician list. Oh, I've got him on my list. Or people who smoke cigarettes and puff it in your face. They none of them be missed. They none of them be missed. And the idiot who chatters with enthusiastic glow and mixes every phrase and sentence with the words, you know. And the lady from the back of Burke dresses like a guy, but she doesn't think she dances, but would rather like to try. And that video phenomenon, the mini-series cyst, I don't think they'd be missed. I'm sure they'd not be missed. He's gone on the list. He's gone on the list. There's the amateur theatrics with their endless GNS, and the gentleman who is. I've got him on the list. All funny fellows, comic men who love to wear a dress. They'd none of them be missed. They'd none of them be missed. And the charismatic statesman of a motion picture kind, such as, what do you call it? Bob, you know Bob. And likewise, oh, never mind. And Nifty there, and Andrew Key, and Joe Bjorky, oh, the task of filling up the rest I'd rather leave to you. But it really doesn't matter who you put upon the list, for they none of them be missed. They none of them be missed. He's on the list. must last a week. Now, I should like to do it handsomely, and I want to consult you as to the amount you think I ought to spend on them.
Certainly. In which of my capacities? First Lord of the Treasury, Lord King, Chancellor, Attorney General, Privy Purse, or Private Secretary?
Shall we say, as private secretary?
Speaking as your private secretary, and as the city will have to pay for it, don't stint yourself, do it well.
Exactly! As the city will have to pay for it. That is your advice.
As private secretary.
Of course, as Chancellor of the Exchequer, I have to see that your economy is observed.
But you said just now, don't stint yourself, do it well.
As private secretary.
Yes, but now you say that all due economy must be observed.
As Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Now I see. Well, look, come over here, where the Chancellor of the Exchequer can't hear us. Now then, no! Now, speaking as my solicitor, how do you advise me to deal with this difficulty?
Speaking as your solicitor, I've no hesitation in saying, chance it.
Thank you very much. I will.
If it were as Lord Chief Justice, I must see that the law is not violated.
Right. Well, look. Come over here, where the Lord Chief Justice can't hear. Now then. For God's sake. No! Now, as First Lord of the Treasury.
As First Lord of the Treasury, I can propose a special bill to recover all expenses. If it weren't as Leader of the Opposition, I should have to fight against it tooth and nail. For as Paymaster General, I can so cook the accounts that as Lord High Auditor, I should never discover the fraud. But then as Archbishop, I should have to denounce my own dishonesty and turn myself into my own custody as First Commissioner of Police.
I say, that's extremely awkward.
I don't say that all these distinguished people couldn't be squared, but it's only right to tell you that they wouldn't be sufficiently degraded in their estimation unless they were insulted with a very considerable bribe.
Oh, I see. Well, the matter shall have my most careful consideration. But my bride and her two sisters approach. Oh, and any compliment on your part, such as an abject grovel in a characteristic Japanese attitude, would be esteemed a favor.
No money, no grovel.
Oh, yes.
bizarre, don't it?
It's rather peculiar. Oh, I expect it's all right. Must have a beginning, you know.
Of course, I know nothing about these things. But if it's usual...
No, it's quite usual, I think. Lord Chamberlain?
I've heard it done.
Thank goodness that's so wrong. Why, it's never you.
But won't you introduce me? You know, one at a time if you please.
Oh, here's the gentleman who used to play so beautifully on the...
On the Marine Parade.
Yes, I think that was the name of the instrument.
Sir, I have the misfortune to love your boy, Yum Yum. I know I deserve your anger.
Anger? No, not a bit of it, I say. Why, you know, I love her myself. Oh, I know, she's quite a charming little thing, isn't she? Pretty eyes, lovely hair, quite a fetching girl altogether, you know. It's so good in circumstances like this to have one's opinion backed up by such a competent authority. Thank you very much. Take you away.
I beg your pardon, but what is this? Customer come to try on.
That is a tremendous swell.
Okay, you girls. Come talk to little girls like you. Go away, there's dear.
Allow me to introduce my three wards. The one in the middle is my bride-elect.
What do you want me to do to them? Mind you, I will not kiss them.
No, you needn't kiss them, you know. Just a mere bow, a mere nothing. You needn't mean it, you know.
But it goes against the grain. These are not young ladies, they are young persons.
Go on. There's a good nobleman.
I can't believe it. How do you, little girls? How do you? Oh, my throat of plaster ancestors.
No, that was very good.
I see nothing to laugh at. It is very difficult for me to say, how do you, little girls? How do you, young persons? I'm not in the habit of saying, how do you, little girls? How do you, to anyone under the rank of stockbroker.
Don't laugh at him. He can't help it, you know. He's under treatment. Now don't you pay them any heed. They don't understand the delicacy of your position.
We know how delicate it is, don't we?
I should say we do. After all, how a nobleman of your importance can do it at all is a thing I never shall understand.
Thank you.
do not love him.
Alas, no!
Modified rapture. Then why do you not refuse him?
What good would that do? He wouldn't let me marry you.
But I would wait until you were of age.
You forget that in Japan, girls do not reach years of discretion until they are 50.
True, from 17 to 49 are considered years of indiscretion.
Besides, a wandering minstrel who plays a weaving instrument outside tea houses is hardly a fitting husband for the lord of the ward high executioner.
What? Shall I tell her? Yes, you. What should prove that after all I am no musician?
There, I was certain of it the moment I heard you play.
What if it should prove that I am none other than the son of the son of His Majesty the Mikado?
The son of the Mikado? Then why is your highness disguised? And what has your highness done? And will your highness promise never to do it again?
Some years ago, I had the misfortune to captivate Katisha, an elderly lady in my father's court. She misconstrued my customary affability into expressions of affection, claimed me in marriage under my father's law. My father, the Lucius Junius Brutus of his race, ordered me to marry her within a week. Perished ignominiously on the scaffold. That night I fled his court, and assuming the disguise of a second trombone, I joined the band in which you found me, when I had the pleasure of seeing you.
If, please, your highness had better not come too near. The laws against flirting are excessively severe.
But we are quite alone, and nobody can see us.
Still, that don't make right. To flirt is capital.
It is, Captain.
And we must obey the law.
Deuce take the law.
I wish to, but it won't.
If it weren't for that, how happy we might be. If it weren't for the law, we should be sitting side by side, like that.
Instead of being obliged to sit half a mile off. Like that.
We should be gazing into each other's eyes, like that.
Breathing sighs of an awful love. Oh.
With our arms around each other's waists, like that. If it weren't for the law,
And of course it is, you know, we could do anything to come.
but not for worlds,
Being engaged to Conan.
being engaged to Coco.
up in that little castle. Oh, really, it hardly seems worth the bother, does it? Matrimony. Now then, what is it? Can't you see I'm soliloquizing? You have interrupted an apostrophe, sir.
I am the bearer of the letter from His Majesty, the Mikado.
The Mikado? I wonder what he can want. Gentlemen, please be seated. Oh. So it's come at last! I thought it would come sooner or later. The Mikado is struck by the fact that no executions have taken place in Titipu for over a year, and agrees that unless someone is executed within a month, then a post of Lord High Executioner will be abolished and the city reduced to the rank of a village. Village.
But that would involve us in irretrievable ruin.
Well, yes. Well, there's nothing else for it. I shall have to execute somebody at once. The only question is, who shall it be?
It may seem unkind to say so, but as you're already under sentence of death for flirting, everything seems to point to you.
To me? But I can't execute myself.
Why not?
Well, in the first place, self-decapitation is an extremely difficult, not to mention dangerous thing to undertake. And in the second, it's suicide, and suicide is a capital offense.
That is so, no doubt.
We might reserve that point.
It could be argued 6 months hence before the full court.
Besides, I don't see how a man can cut off his own head.
A man might try.
Even if you only succeeded in cutting it half off, that would be something.
It would be taken as an earnest of your desire to comply with the imperial will.
No, pardon me, but on that point, I am adamant. As official headsman, I cannot consent to undertake a professional operation unless I can see my way clear to a successful result.
This professional conscientiousness of yours is highly creditable to you, but it places us in a very awkward position.
My good sir, the awkwardness of your position is grace itself compared to that of a man engaged in the act of cutting off his own head.
I'm afraid that unless you can obtain a substitute...
A substitute? Nothing easier. Poopa, I hereby appoint you Lord High Substitute.
I should be delighted. Such a position would fulfill my fondest dreams. But no, at any price, I must set bounds to my insatiable ambition. I am so proud if I allow my family pride to see my die. I volunteer to witness fear instead of you in a minute or two. But family pride must be denied and set aside, and
discussing in the same direction, so I object.
And go and show the friend and know how much you dare. I try to wear it's your affair that I declare. I think you share, I don't much care. I think
So I object.
much care. I think
So I object. 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 Two citizens outside in the dark, in a pestilential prison with a light on, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shot from the chicken chopper on the big black knob. Two citizens outside in the dark, in a pestilential prison with a light on, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shot from the chicken chopper on the big black knob. The short, sharp shot, a big black knob. Two citizens outside in a pestilential prison and awaiting the sensation of a chicken chopper on the big No, this is appalling. To think that I, who allowed myself to be respected at the last moment, simply in order to benefit my native town, am now required to die within a month, and that by a man whom I have loaded with honors. No, is this public gratitude? Is this? Oh, now then, what is it? Am I never to be permitted to soliloquize? Go away, sir! Dare you!
Go on, don't mind me.
What are you going to do with that rope?
I'm about to terminate an unendurable existence.
Terminate your existence? Nonsense. What on earth for?
Because you are going to marry the girl that I adore.
No! Nonsense! Come, sir. I am a humane man, and if you dare to attempt anything of the sort, I shall order your instant arrest. Come, sir. Desist at once, or I summon my guards.
That's it. If you want to raise your arm, I instantly perform the dispatch with this dagger.
No! This is terrible! Why, you bloodthirsty scoundrel! Are you aware that in taking your own life, you are committing an act which is substantive?
What's the matter with you?
Nothing. Tell me, is it absolutely certain you are resolved to die?
Absolutely.
Will nothing shake your resolution?
Nothing.
Threats, prayers, entreaties, all useless?
All. My mind's made up.
Well then, if you mean what you say, and you are absolutely resolved to die, and nothing at all will shake your resolution, don't spoil yourself by committing suicide, but be publicly beheaded at the hands of the Lord High Executioner.
I don't see how that would benefit me.
You don't? Well, observe. You'll have a month to live, and you'll live like a fighting cock. But oh, all at my expense, of course. And then, when the day comes, there'll be a grand public ceremonial with you as the central figure. No one will attempt to deprive you of that honor. There'll be a procession. Bells tolling. Boom, boom. All the girls in tears. in the evening. You won't see them, of course, but they'll be there all the same.
You really think Yum Yum would be distracted at my death?
Oh, I'm quite convinced of it. Why, bless you. She's the most tender-hearted little thing alive.
I should be sorry to cause her pain. Perhaps after all, if I were to withdraw from Japan and travel in Europe for a couple of years, I might contrive to forget her.
Forget Yum Yum? I don't think you could forget her that easily. And after all, what could be more miserable than a love-blighted life?
True. Life without Yum Yum would seem absurd, wouldn't it?
It would indeed.
And yet there are a good many people who have to endure it.
Poor devils, yes. But you are very wise not to be one of their number.
I won't be their number.
Noble fellow!
I'll tell you how we'll manage it. Let me marry Yum Yum tomorrow, and in a month you can behead me.
No. I draw the line at Yum Yum.
Very well, if you can draw the line, so can I.
Stop! Stop! Look, Look, be reasonable. How can I consent to your marrying Yum Yum when I'm going to marry her myself?
My good fellow, she'll be a widow in a month. You can marry her then.
Yes. Look, I quite see that. But oh, dear me, my position during the next month will be most unpleasant.
Not half as unpleasant as mine at the end of it.
Very well, I agree. You can marry Yum Yum, but look, you won't prejudice her against me, will you? You see, I've educated her to be my wife. She's been taught to believe that I am a good, noble, and wise man. Now I should hate her views on that point to be disturbed.
Trust me, she shall never learn the truth from me.
We come to learn how you decide. rejoices in her loveliness, and I am a child of nature, and take after the mother.
my poor child. How can I break it to her? My little bride that was to have been.
Was to have been?
Yes, you can never be mine.
What?
You see, I've just ascertained that under the Mikado's law, when a married man is beheaded, his wife is buried alive.
Buried alive?
Yes. Buried alive. Oh, it's a most unpleasant death.
But whom did you get that from?
Oh, from Pooh-Bah. He's my solicitor.
But he may be mistaken.
Well, so I thought. So I consulted with the Attorney General, the Lord Chief Justice, the Master of the Rolls, the Judge Ordinary, and the Lord Chancellor, and they're all in agreement. I never knew such unanimity on a point of law in my life.
But stop a bit, this law has never been put in force.
Well, not yet. You see, flirting is the only crime punishable by decapitation. And married men never flirt.
No, of course they don't. I quite forgot that. Well, I suppose I may take it my dream of happiness is at an end.
Darling, yes, I don't want to appear selfish, and I love you with all my heart. There isn't anyone else in the world that I could love half as much. But when I agreed to marry you, my own, I had no idea, pet, that I should be buried alive in a month.
Nor I, the very first I heard it.
It does make a difference, doesn't it?
It does make a difference, of course.
Oh, you see, buried alive is such a stuffy death.
I call it a feast of the dead.
You see my dignity, don't you?
Yes, and I see my own. If I insist on you carrying out your promise, I doom you to a hideous death. If I release you, you marry Coco at once.
Here's a hobby it's like I really when your time has come to perish, and the maiden who you cherish must be slaughtered to you. Here's a hobby here's a hobby
Eating among the less. I was lying on the wedding night, but with the tears I'm shedding, here's a pretty mess. Here's a pretty mess.
Here's a state of things, two Elijah things. Matrimonial devotion doesn't seem to suit the notion Mary Unit brings. Here's a state of things, here's a state of things. With a passion that you take for worship and not of the laws of God who sets me on to do it all. We want to say this to all, to say to marry you. Here's a pretty state of things, here's a pretty how you do. Here's a pretty state of things, a pretty state of things. Here's a pretty howdy-do. Oh, my poor boy, I just feel so sorry for you.
Yes, I'm sure.
You see, I'm quite helpless.
Yes, I quite see that.
You know, I can't conceive of anything more disappointing than to have one's marriage cut short at a moment's notice. But you shan't be disappointed of a wedding. Oh no, you shall come to mine.
No, that's awfully kind of you, but it's impossible.
Why so?
Today I die.
What do you mean?
I can't do without Yum. This afternoon I performed a happiness sketch.
No, pardon me, but I simply can't allow that.
Why not?
Hang it all. You're under contract to die by the hand of the public executioner in 1 month's time. If you kill yourself, well, what's to become of me? I shall have to be executed in your place.
Yes, it would certainly seem so.
Oh, goodness, it's the return of the Jedi. Now then, R2, what is it?
The Mikado is sweet are approaching and will be here in 10 minutes.
The Mikado? Oh, he's coming to see whether or not his orders have been carried out. Now see here, you. A bargain is a bargain, and you can't frustrate the ends of justice by committing suicide. As an officer and a gentleman, you are bound to die ignominiously by the hand of the public executioner.
Very well then. Behead me.
What? Now?
Certainly at once.
Look at this.
Chop it off.
My good sir, I do not go around prepared to cut off gentleman's head at a moment's notice. I'm not ready yet. Why? I've never even killed a mozzie.
Still as Lord High Executioner.
As Lord High Executioner, I've got to behead him in a month. Well, I'm not ready yet. Oh, yes, but I mean to take some lessons, yes. I mean to start with a guinea pig and work my way through the animal kingdom. It's a giraffe. Until I get to a second trombone. Why, you don't suppose that I've accepted the post of Lord High Executioner if I hadn't thought that the duties were purely nominal? I can't kill you. I can't kill anything. I can't kill anybody.
Come, poor fellow. After all, what is it? We all have unpleasant duties to perform at some time or another. And if I don't mind, why should you? Remember, sooner or later it must be done.
Must it? Now, I'm not quite so sure about that.
What do you mean?
Well, why should I execute you when I can make an affidavit out saying you're just as well as dead? I mean, look, here are plenty of witnesses. The Lord Chief Justice, the Lord High Admiral, the Secretary of State for the Home Front, the Commander-in-Chief, the Lord Commissioner of Police, and the Archbishop of Chichibu.
And where are they?
There they are. And they'll all swear to it, won't you?
Am I to understand that all of us high officers of state are to purge themselves to ensure your safety?
Well, and why not? You'll be grossly insulted as usual.
Will it be cash down or American Express?
It will be a ready money transaction.
Well, it will be a useful discipline. Very good. Choose your picture out and endorse it. Ha ha, family pride. How you like that, me buck?
I tell you, life without yum yum.
No, yum, 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 yum. Bother yum, yum. Here, Commissioner. Go and find Yum Yum and fetch her here at once. Take him and marry Yum Yum, only go away and never come back. disgrace the Archbishop of Titipu, and he'll marry you both at once.
They find you very...
No, don't bother about that. Only go along with his grace and Nanky Poo will explain it all to you.
But Woodland!
No, not for words. For here comes the Mikado, no doubt to ascertain if his wishes have been carried out. And if he finds you alive, I shall have the greatest difficulty in convincing him I've beheaded you. Now go! Don't close thing that, for here he comes.
over the classical Monday pops. The village shark where many white catches his troops extremely hard. He's made to dwell in a dungeon cell on a spot that's always barred. And there he pays extravagant matches and fitness finger stalls on a clock row with a twisted cue and elliptical billion balls. My object of sublime, I shall achieve in time. To render punishment with the crime, the punishment with the crime. And then the goods that I went, or we will represent, of souls that girls that play, and diamonds that play.
I am very much honored at being permitted to welcome your majesty. I guess the object of your majesty's visit. Your wishes have been attended to. The execution has taken place.
Oh, you've had an execution, have you?
Yes. The coroner has just handed me this certificate.
I am the coroner, and this is the certificate of his death. At Titipu, in the presence of the Lord Chancellor, Lord Chief Justice, Attorney General, Secretary of State for the Home Department, Lord Mayor, and groom of the second floor front. They were all there, Your Majesty. I counted them myself. Very good house. I wish I'd been in time for the performance.
Oh, and a tremendous fellow he was too, Your Majesty. Why, his struggles were enormous. Really, it was an extremely remarkable scene.
Describe.
The criminal cried as he knocked him down in a state of wonder. With a frightful, frantic, fearful frown, I bared my big right arm. I seized him by his little pigtail, and on his knees fell he. As he squirmed and struggled and gurgled and gurgled, I drew my
And it's forward from that death comes a tragic sight to see. The progress yet forget the difference to me. All this is very interesting, and I should like to have seen it. But we came about a totally different matter. My son, the heir to the throne of Japan, bolted from our imperial court.
Oh, indeed. Had he any reason to be dissatisfied with his position?
None whatever. On the contrary, I was going to marry him, yet he fled.
I'm surprised he fled from one so lovely.
That's not true.
No.
You hold that I am not beautiful because my face is plain. But you know nothing. You are still unenlightened. Learn then that it is not in the face alone that beauty is to be sought. My face is unattractive.
It is.
But I have a left shoulder blade that is a miracle of loveliness. People come miles to see it. My right elbow has a fascination that few can resist.
Allow me.
It is on view Tuesdays and Fridays on presentation of visiting card. As for my circulation, it is the largest in the world.
And yet he fled.
But it's now masquerading in the skies as a second trombone.
Second trombone?
Yes. Would it be troubling you too much if I asked you to produce him? He goes by the name of Nanky Poo.
Oh, certainly nothing easier. Oh, that is no, it's very difficult, you see. He's gone abroad.
Abroad, he's at rest.
The sukiyaki room of the Auburn Travel.
What's the matter?
See here his name, Nanky Poo. He had it this morning. Oh, where shall I find my mother? Where shall I find my mother?
This is very tiresome. My poor fellow, in your anxiety to carry out my wishes, you have beheaded the heir to the throne of Japan.
If your Majesty will accept my unqualified apologies, I had no idea.
I wish to associate myself with that expression of regret.
We really hadn't the least notion.
Of course. How could you tell? If a man of exalted rank chooses to disguise himself as a second trombone, he must take the consequences. It really distresses me to see you take on so. I've no doubt he thoroughly deserved all he got.
If your Majesty will accept our... we are infinitely obliged to your Majesty.
Much obliged, Your Majesty.
Very much obliged, Your Majesty. Obliged? Not a bit. Don't mention it. How could you tell? Of course we couldn't tell who the gentleman really was.
It wasn't written on his forehead, you know.
It might have been written on his pocket handkerchief, but Japanese don't use pocket handkerchiefs.
I forget the punishment for compassing the death of the heir apparent.
No punishment!
Yes, something lingering with boiling oil in it, I fancy. I think boiling oil occurs in it, but I'm not quite sure. I know it's something humorous, but lingering with either boiling oil or melted lead.
If your Majesty will accept a humble apology, I didn't have the least idea.
Of course.
I knew nothing about it.
I wasn't there. Unfortunately, the fool of an access compassing the depth of the air apart. There's not a word about a mistake.
No.
Or not knowing.
No.
Or having no notion.
No.
Or not being there. No. There should be, of course. Yes. But there isn't. Oh. That's the slovenly way in which these acts are always drawn. However, cheer up. I'll have an altar. Next session. Now, about your execution. We're after lunch and soon you. Can you wait till then?
Oh, yes.
We can wait till then. Good. Then we'll wait it after luncheon. I don't want any lunch. I'm very sorry for you all, but it's an unjust world, and virtue is triumphant only in theatrical performances. See all the bits their gifts are not, for A is happy, B is not, yet B is worthy, I will say, of more prosperity than A.
Is be more worthy?
Intended to give artistic verisimilitude to an otherwise bald and unconvincing narrative.
Corroborative detail, indeed. Corroborative fiddlestick.
You're just as bad with your cock and bull story about whistling in air and catching his eye. Yes, but that's so like you, isn't it? You must put in your all.
And what about you and your big right arm?
Yes, and your snicker sneak.
Well, anyway, there's only one thing to be done. Nanky Poo hasn't
Oh, but he's married now.
Bless my heart, but what has that got to do with it?
Kadisha claims me in marriage, but I can't marry her because I'm married already. Consequently, she will insist on my execution, and if I'm to be executed, my wife will have to be buried alive.
See out of it, please?
Well, I just don't see what's to be done then.
There is one chance for you. If you could persuade Kadisha to marry you, she would have no further claim on me. Consequently, I could come back to life without having any fear of being put to death.
Me? Marry Kadisha?
I really think it's the only course.
My good girl, have you seen her? She's something appalling.
That's only her face. She has a left elbow that people can't miles to see.
And I'm told that her left heel is much admired by connoisseurs.
Good sir, I decline to pin my heart on any lady's right heel.
It comes to this. While Kadisha is single, I prefer to remain a disembodied spirit. When Kadisha is married, existence will be as welcome as the flowers in spring. Not flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, we promise of better sunshine. So merrily dance we sing, tra-la, we welcome all flickering, tra-la, a smell of roses and wine, a smell of roses and wine. And that will be when we say the spring is welcome as flowers that bloom in the spring.
The flowers that bloom in the spring, tra-la, have nothing to do with the case. I've got to take after my wing, tra-la, a most unattractive old thing, tra-la, with a caricature on the face, with a caricature on the face. And that's what I mean when I say or I sing. Oh, bother the flowers that bloom in the spring. La 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 la. La 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 la. That was given to me by Joan Sutherland. And she was so glad to see the end of it.
to love me? Am I to go through the weary round again? And at the same time, implore mercy for you who robbed me of my dream? And Mikado will, just as his education was on the point of completion. Oh, where shall I find another? Where shall I find another? What?
For years, I have loved you with a white-hot passion that is slowly but surely consuming the very vitals of me. Oh, shrink not from me. If there is aught of a woman's mercy that beats within your heart, turn not from a lovesick suppliant whose every fibre thrills at your tiniest touch. True it is that beneath a poor mask of disgust I have endeavored to conceal from you a passion whose fires are broiling the very soul within me. But the fire will not be smothered, but defies all attempts at extinction, and bursting forth all the more eagerly for its long restraint, declares itself for you in words that cannot be weighed, that should not be too severely schooled, that ought not be heavily criticized. Katisha, I dare not hope to win your love, but I will not live without it, darling.
Dare to address words of passion to the woman you have so foully wronged.
I do. Accept my love, or I perish on the spot.
True. Who knows so well as I that no one ever yet died of a broken heart?
Ah, you know not what you say. Listen. On a tree by a river, a little tomtit sang willow, tit willow. And I said to him, Dicky bird, why do you sit singing willow, tit willow, tit willow? Is it weakness of intellect, birdie I cry, or a rather tough worm in your little inside? With a shake of his poor little head he replied, Ah, willow, tit willow. And he slapped at his chest as he sat on that bough, singing willow, tit willow. And the cold perspiration bespangled his brow. Ah, willow, tit willow. Then he sobbed at his side, and a cry as he plunged himself into that willowy way. And an echo rose that stood beside gray. Ah, willow, tit willow. Now I feel just as sure as I'm sure that my name is a tit willow, even in bloodthirstiness?
My idea, exactly! There's beauty in the meadow of the lost, there's grandeur in the girlie of the hill, there's a little roaring of the lion is the roaring of the tiger is the lashing of his tail.
Yes, I like to see a tiger on the top of the night, and especially when he's lashing of his tail.
God eagles have a spell that is real, and earthquakes when you terrify the dance. And to keep it scientific, there's nothing that's terrific in the falling of a flesh of the dance.
Yes, in spite of all my weakness, if I have a little weakness, it's a passion for a flight above the walls. If that is so singular, so it's been out to summer, where you go and carry your time to days. There's no trace of me old age. Do you think that you are healthy enough? Information I'm requesting on a subject interesting. Do you think that you are healthy enough? I'm old enough to know what to think. Won't you wait until you meet in the shade? There's fascination raging in the room, and that's romantic. Do you think you are sufficiently decayed?
To the subject that you mentioned, I have given some attention, and I think I am sufficiently decayed.
If that is so singular, please don't been out to summer, where you go and carry your time to days. That is so singular, please don't been out to summer, where you go and carry your time to days. Do not wonder whether what's happening today. Yes, done.
Now then, we've had a capital lunch and we're all quite ready. Have all the painful preparations been made?
Your Majesty, all is prepared.
Then produce the unfortunate gentleman and his two well-meaning but misguided accomplices.
Mercy for Coco! Mercy for Pity Sing! Mercy even for Pooh-Bah!
I beg your pardon. I don't think I quite caught that last remark. Mercy, even for Pooh-Bah.
My husband had most to have been his name, and I have just married this miserable object.
Oh, you haven't been long about it.
We were married in front of the registrar.
I am the registrar. I see. But my difficulty is that, as you have slain the heir apparent,
The heir apparent is not slain.
bless my heart, my son.
And your daughter-in-law elected.
You have deceived me!
Yes, we are entitled to a little explanation, but I think he will give it better whole, very pieces.
It's like this. It is true that I said I had killed Lanky Pooh.
Yes, with the most affecting particulars. Merely corroborative detail, intended to give artistic verisimilitude, otherwise bald and unconvincing.
Will you refrain from putting in your oar?
Narrative.
It's like this. When your Majesty says, let a thing be done, a thing is done. Practically, it's already done because your Majesty's will is law. Consequently, when a gentleman says, no, when your Majesty says, let a gentleman be killed, a gentleman sportsman is told off to be killed. Consequently, he's as good as dead. Now, if he is, why not just say so?
I see. Nothing could be more satisfactory.
On the subject I claim to be done. Your notions of many are not worth a penny. The word for your guidance is mum. With a very good bargain indeed.
Right.
Parking arrangements, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, a couple of things before you go, don't let me leave. You've got 16 pages to tell you all about. A couple of things that you need to know. Friday night, the parking, I'll probably be back the other night. You want to go down the corner. Okay, another thing is ladies and gentlemen, you're getting other in particular, no talking in the dressing rooms, around nonsense, the doors are not held, the digitized, the wing, no talking in the wing, no talking on the staircase, no talking on the ground floor. Okay, thank you.
What's happening here? A bit of local colour. Oh, a bit of local colour. No, themselves. You don't interest it?
Robert. Before you go. When would you be going? It doesn't matter. I know that. No, there's none now. When the others go off to the side, at the same time, I know Kathy's going off there. Straight round the back and down. Two apologies. Yes, do you request those long sleeves about the size
How are you today? Right, standing on your right.
Yes.
Okay, other than that, our car's in the village, so let's show on Friday night.
Sprung.